It was game week 9 in the unforgiving theatre of the Premier League, where certain fixtures transcend their perfunctory status as a battle for 3 points. They become crucibles of character, referendums on progress, and occasionally the stage for a narrative so compelling it seems preordained. Arsenal's encounter with Crystal Palace was definitely one such occasion. A contest imbued with tactical intrigue, personal history, and the seismic pressure of a title race. This was not merely a league game, it was the Eberechi Eze derby, a collision between a club reaching for its zenith and a player embodying its ambitious recruitment strategy. The result, a hard-fought 1-0 victory, was a testament not to flamboyant football, but to a newfound gritty maturity that may well define their championship credentials. The context framing this encounter was a study in contrasts. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal arrived on the crest of a wave, a swaggering 4-0 demolition of Atletico Madrid in Europe, serving as a thunderous statement of intent. Conversely, Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace, a side reborn under his astute tactical stewardship, had just stumbled in a lesser European competition. Yet, any assumption of a straightforward home victory would have been dangerously naive. Palace, one of the division's most formidable units since Glasner's arrival, represented a significant tactical hurdle, a team structured to frustrate, provoke, and punish with lethal transitions. For Arsenal, this was more than a test. It was, as Arteta would later articulate, about making another step. The ghosts of dropped points against this very opposition in previous campaigns lingered. This match, therefore, was a psychological barrier as much as a physical one, and at the heart of the narrative stood Eberechi Eze, the creative fulcrum whose summer transfer from Selhurst Park to the Emirates was a marquee moment. His task was to dismantle the very club that had honed his prodigious talents, his every touch scrutinized under the weight of expectation. His sublime volley, a singular moment of incandescent quality in a cagey affair, not only secured a 7th consecutive win, but also served as a powerful corollary that elite talent, when integrated into an elite system, is the ultimate difference maker. Post-match, the manager's reflections offered a fascinating dichotomy of perspective. Arteta, eschewing triumphalism for a more profound satisfaction, labelled it probably the biggest victory that we had this season. His analysis focused on the internal battle won, maturity and patience. "I knew we had to be very patient and not get frustrated, because it was very difficult to open them up," he explained. "The team showed that maturity. We found a way to score a brilliant goal and keep another clean sheet." This was the voice of a process-driven manager, seeing his principles vindicated not in a flurry of goals, but in the disciplined execution of a difficult game plan. His emphasis on the team's mindset and ruthless insistence underscored a shift from a team that hopes to win to one that expects to win, adapting its methods to the challenge at hand. Oliver Glasner, in his candid assessment, provided the counterpoint. "Today, we suffered from this situation, but in this situation it was clearly our mistake," he lamented, acknowledging the fine margins. While rightly proud of his team's performance, particularly a dominant opening spell, he conceded the reality of the elite level. "When you play a team like Arsenal, who are in fantastic shape, you can't allow this. Maybe Arsenal were one level higher in a few situations." His words were not of a defeated manager, but of a pragmatic one who understood that his well-drilled side had been undone by a lapse in concentration and a moment of individual genius, the very currency in which titles are bought. The opening half unfolded exactly as Glasner would have designed it. Palace were compact, aggressive, and intelligent in their pressing traps. Arsenal, for their part, seemed encumbered by the occasion. They unveiled a new build-up variation, attempting to outnumber Palace's first line of pressure to create a clear path for Martin Zubimendi to conduct play. However, Palace had done their homework. Zubimendi was specifically targeted, often bracketed by 2 players, effectively severing the connection between Arsenal's defence and midfield. This tactical stalemate forced Arsenal's centre-backs, William Saliba and Gabriel, into longer, more speculative passes towards the forwards, largely bypassing the midfield nexus where they typically dominate. The result was a turgid, attritional affair. Arsenal's first shot, a tame effort from Leandro Trossard after a rare fluid exchange with Victor Gyökeres, didn't arrive until the 33rd minute. The game was crying out for a moment of ingenuity to break the deadlock. It arrived in the 39th minute from the most practiced of scenarios, a set piece. Declan Rice's delivery was, as is now customary, immaculate. Gabriel, peeling away at the back post, directed a cushioned header back across the 6-yard box. There, lurking with intent, was Eze. Winning his duel against the highly rated Adam Wharton, he met the dropping ball with an acrobatic volley of breathtaking technique, lashing it past a helpless Dean Henderson. It was a goal of supreme quality, a stark anomaly in a first half that produced a collective expected goals of just 0.2, the lowest in any Premier League match this season. Whatever Arteta said during the interval, likely a mixture of tactical recalibration and a stern call for greater intensity, had an immediate and explosive effect. Within 4 minutes of the restart, Arsenal unleashed a fusillade of chances. First, Gabriel's header from a Rice free kick cannoned back off the crossbar. Seconds later, Rice himself forced Henderson into a superb reflex save. From the ensuing pressure, Bukayo, unusually subdued until this point, curled an effort inches wide. This 10-second blitz was a powerful demonstration of the champions' gear change, a warning that their first-half lethargy had been shaken off. The introduction of fresh legs, with Saliba making way at half-time, did little to disrupt the defensive cohesion. In fact, Gabriel, who had already provided the crucial assist, grew in stature. He was a colossal presence, later hitting the woodwork a second time after a desperate defensive flick denied him a certain goal. Positionally, the team looked more balanced. Eze, operating in the nominal Odegaard role, brought his own interpretation, less of the Norwegian's relentless pressing and intricate short passing, and more of a gliding, line-breaking dribbling with a credible shooting threat that offered a different kind of creative problem for Palace to solve. Behind him, the defensive double pivot of Rice and Zubimendi formed a formidable carapace. Their combined athleticism and tactical intelligence provided an extra layer of protection, allowing Arsenal to commit more bodies forward with a sense of security. The only superstar in Mikel Arteta's Arsenal is the team. Whether it's Declan Rice chasing the rapid Crystal Palace forward Sarr to win the ball, or it's a creative player like Eberechi Eze tracking Sarr just before the half-time whistle. The same can be said about newcomers Mosquera and Nkapie. Every player is fighting for each other. This dynamic is the fuel for the system which has propelled Arteta's troops to the top of the league. Further ahead, the mere presence of Victor Gyökeres had a gravitational effect on the Palace backline. His combination of pace and power meant that Glasner's defenders dared not push high, creating precious pockets of space between the lines for Saka, Trossard and Eze to exploit. Trossard in particular was a live wire, his movement and link-up play excellent, even if his final product was occasionally lacking. As the final 10 minutes approached, Palace threw caution to the wind. Marc Guéhi, Richards and Maxime Lacroix became significant threats from set pieces, both spurning presentable chances. Henderson launched a barrage of long balls, testing the nerve and aerial prowess of Arsenal's rearguard. This was the acid test of Arteta's maturity metric. The substitutions of key figures like Saka, Rice and Saliba throughout the game could have been destabilizing, yet the team's structure and resolve held firm, a testament to the squad's enhanced depth and shared tactical understanding. In these frantic final moments, it was Zubimendi who truly shone. No longer just a pass master, he transformed into a midfield marshal, intercepting passes, breaking up play, and directing his teammates with the authority of a seasoned general. He was the calm epicenter of the storm, foiling Palace's last-ditch efforts and ensuring the precious one-goal lead was preserved. In the final analysis, this was not a performance that will be immortalized in Arsenal's highlight reels. It was, however, a victory of immense significance. It was a triumph forged in resilience, tactical discipline, and collective spirit rather than dazzling attacking football. It demonstrated that this iteration of Arsenal can win ugly, a non-negotiable prerequisite for any aspiring champion. With 29 games still to navigate, talk of titles remains premature. The immediate focus, as is Arteta's mantra, must be on doing our job, yet the signs are profoundly encouraging. The opportunities for this team seem boundless, particularly when the star-studded final third fully clicks into gear. But until that devastating harmony is perfected, it is the less glamorous, more foundational qualities that are grinding out results. The camaraderie, the defensive solidity, and the unshakable team spirit are the currency paying for their lofty position at the Premier League summit. This victory over Crystal Palace was the quintessential embodiment of that spirit, a gritty, calculated, and ultimately a champion's win.
So that was the tactical brief from Arsenal's 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. Thanks for joining in. This is the Arsenal Blueprint, and you were tuning in to the Blueprint Aftermath. Don't forget to like, hype, share, and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one, and until then, come on the Arsenal.